Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Living to Learn. Another video here. Thankful for all of you who have supported me since I've been doing this. Again, going over a year now. I think it was a year. I can't remember the exact date, but sometime in January we hit the year mark of this channel. So again, those of you who have been watching, following, subscribed, commented, donated, however you've contributed your support, I do appreciate it. So thanks again for that. As I said numerous times, if it was just me on here talking, I mean, wouldn't really be beneficial, right? Well, maybe for myself, because this is helpful to me. I mean, it's something that I enjoy. But anyway, let's get into it. I learned this video. I want to share about a very hard lesson that I learned recently. Now, if you've watched my videos, you know that I'm all about just improving, right? Getting better. And I'm also about discussing the challenges that come with that come along with that pursuit, right? I mean, we all, if we could, we'd all snap our fingers and change certain things about us, make certain things, no longer exist or no longer an issue, whatever it may be. I mean, unless you just feel like everything's as it should be. And if that's the case, good for you. I'm not here to knock that. I'm not here to hate on that. I'm not saying, I don't want to assume that every single person out there recognizes that there's something that needs to improve in their lives or needs to get better or something that they wish they could just be stronger at, or there's a place they want to be. You may be very content. And if that's the case, I'm happy for you. I'm not. And it's not because I'm not grateful. Let me make that clear. I'm very grateful for what I have and where I'm at and how far I've come. With that being said, there are things that I want. There are goals that I have. There's dreams that I want to see come true. And so, I have my eyes set on those things. Getting there is a whole other story. Right. And so that's some of the stuff I've talked about on this channel. Right, I'm an aspiring life coach at Live to Learn Coaching on Instagram. You can find me on there. I like to post, reels. I like to post content, cool quotes that I see in my reading. Right, I try to do a lot of reading, and all the photos are original. By the way, those are all pictures that I've taken on my phone while I'm out and about. Another thing, if you again, this is your first time watching, I'm in outside sales, and so I travel a lot. I go to a lot of different places, and it's pretty neat. But anyway, the end goal, right? The end goal is to become a better version of myself, to achieve certain things that are far beyond my capacity at the moment. The trick is to get into a position where those things are no longer outside of my reach, but they are things that I can actually touch, that become tangible, right? And that's, financial freedom. That's, owning and running my own business. Now that gives me a segue into this lesson that I learned recently. Excuse me. It was a tough lesson. And, something that I find that's unique about learning these types of lessons when they happen, right? So number one, we always have a choice, right? We can be upset, we can get frustrated about something, and we can just kind of leave it as is. We can we can write it off as a waste of time. We can write it off as just, that sucked, that happened to me, unfair, whatever, we can do that. You have that choice, right? You have that option. Or you can kind of fight through that discomfort, right? Because at first it doesn't feel good. Right. And let me say this. Let me throw this in there. If all you want to do is feel good, you're not going to be able to grow very much. You're not going to be able to get very far. OK, I'm not saying you got to feel bad all the time. Not at all. I mean, we need to have moments where we feel great, where we feel good, we feel confident, we feel excited, we feel eager. We're looking forward to things. But there's going to be moments, especially if you're pushing yourself to become a better version of yourself, which is what I'm doing, which is what I'm set out to do. There are going to be moments where you're going to be very uncomfortable. There are going to be moments where you are not going to feel good. and you're not going to feel like learning a lesson. Okay. And this is what happened to me recently. I wasn't in the mood to be taught something. Okay. I didn't want to learn a lesson. I wanted to have a great day, and I wanted things to, go smooth. Right. Yeah. But you know what? It's like I tell my customers, yeah, you may have a certain budget. You may have a certain expectation in mind, but your budget does not determine the quality of the project that you're going to get, right? My expecting things to go smooth, me wanting things to just go right, does not determine that they will, right? So keep that in mind. So here I am. This is a couple days ago. I go out to an appointment. I show up. They let me in. We start talking, and if I come to find out that one of my colleagues had already been out there a couple weeks before. Now, sometimes you have a situation where, there'll be a rep that goes out there and, for whatever reason, they cancel the appointment or they don't get all the way through. Okay. But this particular incident, I'm sorry, my colleague had, ran the play, as we call it, demonstrated everything, did the product demo, showed them pricing, right? And these people just, that for whatever reason, it was out of their budget, it was out of their range. And it happens, sometimes it's just too much money. And, it just comes with the territory. We've got a number of different ways we can make it affordable, but sometimes it's just not. And, as a salesperson, you got to understand that it's going to happen. But anyway, so I'm talking to these homeowners, and they got a quote, and I knew just by the number they gave me that whoever was out there before had pretty much discounted as much as they could. We have a certain amount of leeway where we can work on price to an extent. At the end of the day, I mean, we all, we need to be paid for what we do. We need to make some money off of the sale because we work hard for it. So you can't just give everything away. But based on what they were telling me, I knew that my colleague had already, pretty much gave them their best, the best we could do for them, and it just wasn't enough. So I'm sitting there like, well, what am I doing here? Why am I even out here? And I'm getting frustrated because I'm thinking this is a waste of my time. I shouldn't be here. Come to find out, I talked to the homeowners, and I just asked them straight out, like, hey, you know what, why did you decide to have me out here again? They said, oh, well, somebody from your company said, this and that, and you have other options. And I'm like, I'm thinking in my mind, like, they know better than that. They know better than that. Somebody was trying to get an appointment set because they have a quota that they need to meet. And here I am, right? So I was upset. So I left. Obviously, I took off, had another appointment I needed to get ready for. I ended up calling my manager. I'm really frustrated. Just, kind of, not really upset with him, but just more like, hey, what's going on? Like, what are these leads? What's happening here? And we started to talk, and we actually talked for a while. And see, the cool thing about my manager is he's actually been in my shoes. So he knows what it's like to be out in the field. He knows what it's like to deal with all these obstacles that come our way. And as we're talking, right, it begins to dawn on me. And this is what I wanted to share with you guys. It begins to dawn on me. And this is, when I have moments like this, even in the moment when it doesn't feel good, okay, what I'm about to explain to you right now, I get excited because it proves to me that I'm getting better. It proves to me that I'm growing. I'm becoming more mature. I am leaving behind a lot of the immaturity, right? That self-pity, that, wanting to blame others, wanting to put wanting to blame other things and outside circumstances for my situation, right? I'm beginning to distance myself from that type of mentality, because that is a poverty mentality. That will keep you impoverished. That will keep my mind in a place it can't be at if I'm going to get to the next level, right? And whatever that might look like for you and I is different, but there are other places I want to go. I don't want to be the same person I am today 10 years from now. I want to be a better version of myself. So anyway, we're talking, and it begins to dawn on me that I am not taking full responsibility for my situation. Now, you might be sitting here and saying, well, Josh, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault, man. But at the end of the day, it's my responsibility to make something happen. Okay? See, instead of looking at it as, oh, this was a waste of my time, they sent me out here for nothing, what I should have seen was an opportunity to, sell ice to an Eskimo, right? Just, not that it would have happened. Not that I could have sold that job. But I wasn't looking for ways to make it happen anyway. Rather, I was looking for reasons to be upset. And I was already pretty much counting myself out. Okay? Now, was it frustrating? Yes. Was it unfair? I think so. So this is not a denial session. This is not saying, oh, everything's great. No, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it isn't okay. But what are you going to do about it? Right? And as I'm talking to my manager, so I'm sitting in my car, getting ready for my next, I'm sitting there parked in the street, getting ready to go to my next appointment. And I'm looking at myself in the rear view, like, what are you going to do about it, man? Because you can sit here all day. You can call your manager every day and you're upset. But what are you going to do about it? And as he's talking, it begins to dawn on me that I still have this employee mindset. Now, I'm an aspiring life coach. My plan is to one day coach people full time, support my family with my skills, with my abilities, with my expertise. Okay? That's where I'm headed. If I'm going to get there, then I need to start thinking like a business owner. I need to start thinking like an entrepreneur. And it began to dawn on me as we're talking. And I started to, the conversation ended a lot differently than it started. And I basically told my manager, I said, you know what it is? You know what the problem is with me? I still have this employee mindset. I've still not transitioned completely into a business owner, entrepreneurial mindset, that this is all on me. The leads might suck. The call center might blow it. But guess what? It's all on me. I still have to make something happen. I still have to figure something out. And you know what that did? At that moment, it freed me. It freed me. So now when I go into an appointment, it's like, hey, come what may. Whatever comes my way, I have to make this happen somehow. I've got to figure this out. I've got to go in there and I've got to show these people, you want what I have. Let me figure out how to get it to you. That's just it. So I learned a valuable lesson. It started off as a frustration. It started off as an excuse. It started off as an opportunity for me to feel sorry for myself. It started off as an opportunity for me to blame outside forces, right? Outside parties. Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, it's on us. You look in the mirror, that's who's responsible. Again, is it fair? Does it feel good? No. No, it doesn't. It's not fair. It's not okay. But what are you going to do about it? Right? Look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that. What am I going to do? How am I going to make this happen? Yes, this happened to me. Yes, this happened, and this came about, and I got thrust into this situation, and woe is me, and this and that. Nothing wrong with being human, okay? Nothing wrong with expressing those things, but what are you going to do about it? That's the lesson I learned, and I pass that on to you. The quicker we can get there, the quicker we can make that decision, the further we get. Right? Because there's always going to be a reason. There's always going to be an excuse. What are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? We've got to take responsibility. We've got to take ownership. That's the lesson I learned, and I wanted to pass that on to you today. I hope it helps. I hope it encourages you. I hope it inspires you. I hope it motivates you. That's what I'm here for. And, I appreciate you watching the videos. And I will see you next week.